Harpies for you today. That's really cool to see. An interesting take with the Archfiend good stuff and sharks as well. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Man, it's been a little while since we have seen Harpy Lady anything stepping into the light here. I was actually extremely happy to see that somebody had picked back up the Harpy good stuff and was like, you know what, we're going to dust off this deck and we're going to get the chance to shine. Now, I think one of the reasons why this deck still even has a chance is because Harpy's Featherstorm, that beautiful card that says your opponent cannot, the essential turn skip that Flu has been adapting and playing for quite some time, is still a tech choice option out here. Now, we are doing Tri-Brigade combo in here as well. I mean, this is just to ensure, you can get access to things like the Bear Broom Interruption, the Shurog toggle through as well. These are all very important things, and of course, cheating out the Double Dragon Lords as well. All of these little power cards that you're very needing to see in a Winged Beast strategy, I think is going to be very good. We're also playing one copy of the Fearsome Fire Blast, a little extension in here as well. You do see that we have the Perfumers in here, and of course, just 2 copies of Channeler. Basic stuff. And of course, remember, this deck can make the Phantasmal Dragon, which is one of the craziest cards you can actually make in this deck. And, I will say that it is always really cool to see this card kind of sticking around and doing its thing. Is one of those troublesome cards I think decks actually have an issue trying to deal with. Outside of this, I mean, it's Harpies. You're getting the chance to see, I would say, a different take on the meta with this. It doesn't mean that this deck is necessarily bad. It just means you've got to step into the light, and you've got to know that you're playing a little bit grindier of a control deck. And that can be an issue. Alright. But, I mean, hey, if you go first, you do full Tri-Brigade combo, and you do see the Featherstorm, you're probably winning the game. I mean, that's all the big thing. Always remember that, this can search for the Feather Duster. Tee-hee-hee, good stuff. Alright, what else we got back here? So this is basically, we're using the Archfiend package in here to go down, basically the Red Dragons plays that you would see, but I've been noticing a lot more of these synchro decks have been actually starting to play what we're going to call a mini package for the Centurion side of things. And, I mean, your mini package is what? 1 Gargoyle, 2, 1 Primera, 1 Trudea, with 2 stand-up Centurion and 1 wake-up Centurion, because none of this stuff does anything to, do a lock on you. You do need to understand that, going through the toggle lines, doing the pressure, maybe losing to a nib might be an issue, but this deck does everything that it actually needs to do. I do say, King Calamity is still going to be one of your central points for this deck, because making the Crimson Drag, I mean, the stupid 6-card package in here, being able to turbo out, a King Calamity to still interrupt your opponent during their turn, is so stupid. You do see that this deck is taking advantage of a Bysteel side deck down here with one of each of the names, literally, and then you toggle on into the Lubellion and the Regained, which pretty standard stuff. We do have... honestly, I think that's probably it. I mean, most of this... You also have the Obsessive Oovaloop in here as well. I love this card, by the way. This is so cool to see. Most of your extra deck down here, I don't really see any issues with either. All of your lines of play feel incredibly standard, dedicated to the old synchro lines, but in addition to, opening up the door here and trying the slightly, more abusive loop of having access to the level 12s to punish your opponent, it's also pretty good. I mean, hey, Oxwell being able to toggle on in to wake up Centurion as your target, we're getting some places out here. So try this. I think that this is pretty freaking cool. Now, we have some good old Runic Stun for you today. Now, before you're like, wait a minute, we're Fossil Dino Pachycephalo in here? Like, Robbie, what are we doing in here? Why would you play Fossil Dino over something like the Amana or some of the other stuff? Well, while this does shut you off as well, it hurts your opponent about as much as you do. And that's, I guess, kind of the thing that you need to understand is you can still go through and do all of your combo before you drop this card on the field. And that is very important to understand, that you are unrestricted. You can do everything that you need to do. It's just you have a 1200 that you can also flip off with skill drain if need be. And if you do see the scrubbed raid, well, congratulations. You're just going to kind of strap on and do what you need to do. This build is not playing the card scanner. I don't necessarily feel like I like that all that much. Card scanner with looping the runic tip is so insane. Like, genuinely, it gets you places. I also do see we are playing an Abyss Dweller down here as well. I guess this is for the situation that, you end up with 2 Dynas, you're able to negate it, and then you make the Abyss Dweller. Because, remember, this walking, talking floodgate literally makes it so that it itself cannot be overlaid with. So, this would have to be a situation that you'd have to have, one of these up, have it negated, so that you can slap on into the Dweller. But that would just be... I don't even feel like that's worth it, dedicating the extra deck slot to this when I'd rather have a Doomsday Star down here as an actual out to handle things. But I guess if you plan on winning dice rolls all day, then I guess that's fine. Also, I do think the double scrubbed raid down here is pretty good, especially, getting the chance to turn off or yeet some of the worst cards that you could kind of have at your opponent. Actually seems pretty worthwhile. Outside of that, good stuff, I will say. I don't have anything really too questionable to say about this. It's within the realm of expectations. Oh, we have a Lightsworn tier pile for you. Oh, okay. We're starting to get spicy out here with the ideas and things you could do. Now, obviously, the tier package is pretty much unrestricted in the madness that this can bring to the table, because your whole life purpose is me tier, me fuse. My little fusion armaments are pretty good, but now that we have the Lightsworn package in here, getting these little mills along the way. Also only dedicating 1 slot to Fearless feels kind of bad, but, we also do have the Punishment and the JD Dragons. We are not playing the Big Fusion as much as I want to be playing the Big Fusion, just to make it where there's no real need to. Also, Mr. Punishment Dragon getting the chance to kind of reset is pretty good. I do feel like your Lightsworn numbers might be a little bit low to get the maximum value off of the Minerva that you might be wanting to see, but I don't think that's much of an issue. The whole point of this is, you're going to slap on into this, you're going to get your Synchro Mills, and then you're going to attempt to mill off some extra little resources along the way. Like, that's all you want to see. I also see that we are citing 2 Vitos down here, those little pesky field spell decks. You don't really give a crap too much about handing your opponent this monster at this point in time. I also see we are side decking 2 Heartbeats as well. Hey, getting the graveyard effect for this is actually not that bad as well, considering how much you're going to be milling. We're also playing 1 copy of Aegis in here as well. I like this list a lot. I don't think it gets much better than 50. You might be able to scrape it down a little bit, maybe cut a Soul, go down to 49, but you still care about this being a mill along the way to, net you a resource. And that's still pretty gosh darn good. Maybe the Shadal package might feel a little bit weird, but both of these just generate some advantage for you as they do get milled off. So, I don't know. There's a lot to be talked about with this, but I think for intents and purposes right now, it works out. And you have a Shark deck. Yes, Sharks did manage to top a regional. I think it was out of Guam, and we have hardly any info for it, so I figured I would toss it on into its own section back here. Triple Bahamut Shark. So you're just telling me, this deck had nothing really too special going for it. It was just me make Toad Turbo. Nothing wrong with that, actually. Toad Turbo and then overlaying on into, your other little pieces along the way. The Xyz Full Armored package is one of those things that really massively helped this deck out a lot. And, of course, the little Stealth Krakens. We're not even dedicating any little Kraken spawns down here, actually. You're just using the Stealth Kraken to go ahead and roll through water monsters and use the control aspect to punish your opponent. Also, there's the double Xyz Remora. As much as you might not like the card, I still think it's pretty good now at this point to really consider for what you want to see with the deck. Also dedicating the 2 Tactiles. You do have the 2 white mirrors in here so you can get the extension up and running. And, of course, we are doing the Armored Xyz and the Full Armored Xyz for the double detach off of this for the absolute value that you do want to see. It's good time to be a Shark player out here. I like this deck a lot. So, a lot of very interesting ideas kind of coming to the table right now. I'm happy to see more and more people trying out some of these things. I do hope here that we will see some different opinions along the way, but we'll have to wait and see. This is kind of how the meta continues to develop. Maybe people will try out some other crazy ideas, but who knows? That's why Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an evolving game and it's fun. Please, leave a comment about what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.